Good afternoon, everyone. Hi. My name's Diane Gordon. I'm the TV editor at Studio System News, and I also write a TV blog called The Surf Report. And I am so happy to be here for this panel with one of the funniest new comedies on television, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. What's great about the show? There's too many great things about the show, so let's bring out the ensemble and talk to them about what's great about the show. In no particular order, because they're all crazy funny. Please welcome, first of all, please welcome, he plays Detective Charles Boyle, Joe Truglio. He plays Sergeant Terry Jeffords. Please welcome Terry Crews.
That's him.
You know what, Terry? Terry gets to sit wherever he wants. He plays Captain Ray Holt, Mr. Andre Braugher. She plays the butt of way too many of Jake's jokes. She plays Detective Amy Santiago. Please welcome Melissa Fumero. I am one of those viewers who's just a little scared by Detective Rosa Diaz. But in person, Stephanie Beatriz is very lovely, as you'll see. The civilian member of the team, Office Administrator Gina Linetti, played by Chelsea Peretti. And finally, well, you know him from SNL and from Lonely Island, but he plays Detective Jake Peralta, Andy Samberg. There are a few microphones up here, so you'll just have to share them as we ask questions. So I hope you guys share. I thought that was part of ensemble comedy, is that you learn to share.
We learned how to share, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So Joe says, as he keeps the mic.
Not this one, though.
And the first thing I do want to talk about is ensemble comedy, because I think there's a real art to it, and I think you guys have literally one of the best ensembles on television. So, Terry, you did Everybody Hates Chris, so you've had experience with this. Andre, is this your first ensemble comedy?
I guess so. What is an ensemble comedy? Just because I've been in a lot of ensembles.
An ensemble comedy where it isn't dependent on one person for all the funny, where everybody has a job to do, everybody carries some of the weight.
This is not my first trip around the block in an ensemble comedy.
I mean, because men of a certain age kind of fell into the dramedy category.
Comedy. Sorry.
Look at that, they work together so well.
I mean, he does project really well. And this is a super dinky room.
And Andy, can you talk about, because you've done a ton of comedy in your life, that it kind of is your life, but can you talk about what this experience has been like for you?
It's been super awesome. Everyone on the stage is really good, and I think part of the allure for me of doing a show like this was that it would be an ensemble, you know, in the vein of Parks and Rec and The Office, which is where our showrunners cut their teeth, and now they're up to the big leagues, to our show. But yeah, you know, it's fun. It's nice being able to know that, you know, at any given moment, anyone in the cast can be the person that drops the hammer on the punchline.
I like that phrase.
Thank you.
I just wanted to add something. You know, I had when I knew I was coming back to TV again. You know, especially after Everybody Hates Chris, and I did Are We There Yet? And I knew, and I knew that it was really going to be about who I aligned myself with. And the first guy I knew this was an Andy Samberg show. And I said, I got to be on the winning team. I mean, for real. And I got to say it, this guy is the future of comedy, for real. And I said, I got a ball with, it's kind of like, you know, when LeBron knew he had to get with Dwayne and they created this team. I said, and then when Andre came on, and then this whole cast, it really feels like a great winning team. I mean, we dishing off passes and alley-oops, and Joe comes in with a dunk, and Melissa comes in with behind the
And
back.
I'm short and I could still dunk.
Yeah. You know, and it feels good. I have to say, and with comedy, that's what you need. You can't really do it by yourself. You got to have somebody to bounce off of. It's a classic straight man, funny man, wild guy. But here we have, with the cast, it's just an amazing thing. So I wanted to say that.
I agree. I'm glad you said it. I can't leave out the women in this cast because I think all three of you provide just great balances and great foils for the men as well. And I was just wondering, can you guys talk about, you know, how your experiences has been on the show?
Chelsea, enlighten us.
Yeah, Chelsea, go. I love being a foil for men. Take that as you will. Stephanie?
Should I double up? I have another microphone in my lap.
My bad. My bad.
Yeah, let's see what happens. Actually, give me that. Reverb? No, it's just surround sound style. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Like, it's a very male. Ooh. It's a very male environment, I guess, being a cop. You know, there's mostly dudes. The great thing about these particular dudes that we're working with is that they are not. They don't treat us any differently than. I mean, they're. One of the nice things about working on the show is that everyone is a genuinely nice, caring, wonderful human being. Like very, just a real. It's like somebody that you would want to know. I mean, I know that sounds ridiculous, but these people are great people. They respect you as a person. They're interested in what you bring to the table. They want you to be as creative and wonderful.
Except Gina.
Yeah, except Chelsea. Chelsea's a horrible person. Oh, you were talking about your character? Yeah. So it's a fun environment to be in.
That's great. That's great. I was saying because like you, Rosa and Charles, have a really funny chemistry just because of Charles' admiration, or should we say
And
crush
yeah,
on her?
admiration and just nervousness and and innocence.
And this face.
And this mug. You're so nice.
And Joe, do you come up with the physical comedy moves for your character, or does that just happen?
No, do I come up with the moves?
I mean, you're very good at physical comedy.
well, thank you,
as
thank
well
you.
as the shtick.
Yes and no. There's often, if there's a physical gag that, I didn't write, but then I have to perform, it's a perfect 50-50 collaboration between the writers and me. I just like physical comedy. I've always have liked it. Stooges, I was a fan of. And Iggy Pop, man. Yeah, not the Three Stooges. Yeah, I enjoy physical comedy a lot. I'd like to try to do as many stunts as they'll let me do as well.
Okay. And Andy and Andre, are you aware that there is much talk about you guys being kind of the new odd couple?
Well, as the future of comedy, it's tough to keep my ear to the street, I'm so busy. Would I say we're the new odd couple? Why not?
Andre, any reaction to that?
I can't. I don't want to follow Andy, so so I would just say that it's a sweet relationship, and
I've got a little bit of a Mr. Spock, a robot captain thing going on, but I realized from the very beginning that that as Terry was saying earlier, it takes two really to tango with comedy, and so someone is always the straight man. So that's the Abbott and Costello part of our routine, you know what I mean? And I love it because part of it is part of the joy of being on the show is I get to watch really talented comedians do their stuff, and it's not my natural inclination, to engage in this physical comedy or any other kind of comedy, but I'm learning a lot, and so yeah, we are the future of comedy. Yes.
I was gonna say we're the new Kirk and Spock.
We are fascinating, Captain. I'm gonna turn this microphone over.
And I have to ask, I'm pretty sure there have to be some other Homicide fans here in the audience. Because every time Captain Holt goes
I
in
feel
his
like
office...
she's just a fan of the act of Homicide. He had it coming!
That day, and you, Mr. Braugher, were so sweet to me. I was non-union. You sat down and asked me my approach to acting.
Who is this guy?
No, that's a woman.
One day, little scared girl, you're going to be one of us. And when I found out you were going to be here, yes, you did. I wanted to.
Wow.
Oh, thank you.
Wow.
I joined the union, and I really
Well, welcome to the big leagues. Fantastic. So we worked together 20 years ago. Fantastic.
We worked on a scene. We hung out in the trailer. I was the only extra that day. So they moved me up with the big guys. And Belzer was late. And he said,
Really?
"One of us." And back again. But I was sitting in my little corner, and you came up and spoke to me. We talked for probably half an hour. And after I finished talking about Shakespeare and Meisner and stuff, and you talked to me.
Well, fantastic. It's good to see you again.
Anyway, I always, sorry, whenever Captain Holt goes into his office, I keep thinking it's going to be the box, and there's going to be a scene in the box from Homicide, and I can't help thinking about it.
I have a huge stack of magazines in that office, you know what I mean? And I read them while Holt is working. I'm looking through my magazines.
So that's method acting.
Oh,
Is
yeah,
that
that's
correct?
method. Oh, yes,
Okay, that's
yes.
way method. Okay. I was just wondering from each of you, what's been the funniest thing to happen to you on set so far? Who would like to start?
We haven't heard from you.
Melissa, please.
Called out. Thanks, Braugher. Oh gosh, funniest thing. We did a Thanksgiving episode recently, and I know that's why I'm speaking slowly. And there were a lot of cast members in the scene, and there was a lot of ad-libbing, especially from Miss Chelsea Peretti. And I think I have never broke so many times. I just ruined so many takes. Hopefully didn't ruin them because they can use her part, but she was just killing me, and I loved it. But a lot of that happens almost, that stuff happens every day. I mean, this cast is amazing, and especially when we're doing fun runs or when we're improvising or people are ad-libbing or even when we're just talking with the writers about new ad-libs we can do and, usually go with the ones that will make us laugh in that moment when we come up with them. And be like, okay, let's do that. And
Okay.
yeah.
Joe.
Well, there's been a lot, and I'm trying also to be careful not to give anything away. I'll just relate a story that from after we did the pilot, real quick one. When I was after the table read, before we started shooting, actually the pilot, we were coming from a table read, and I'm in a parking garage, and I hear this incredible voice just singing with the greatest pipes in the world. I look over and it's Andre, singing has the best voice in the world, and I'm like I caught him. I want to say how excited I am to work with him. And I'm like, Andre, do you remember this at all? I do. Okay. And and I said, I'm so excited that you're going to be working with us, and what made you take a comedy in this type of comedy? And he's like, well, You know what I mean. I'm known as a dramatic actor, and my voice is you know what I mean. My voice is very much my the moneymaker, and now I want to learn the feathery world of comedy. And I fell in love with him there and then. The feathery world of comedy. This is what we do.
Chelsea, you're next.
Oh, do you mind, hon? Okay. I had an Andre Braugher one also made me laugh, where it's like, you know.
By the way, Andre, this is a roast and not a SAG Q&A. So welcome. We got you.
No, but like just that amazing voice. Anything he says sounds like anything in the contemporary world sounds funny. So he came up to my desk in between takes and he goes, "I've been reading your Twitter." Like, how does that make you laugh? It's so simple, but I was just like, what? You go on the internet? And he said a favorite tweet, which was really, like, inappropriate to repeat, but that was his favorite. And it just made me laugh imagining him like,
What about that word game? That word game that you
Oh, yeah, I got him to do Scramble with friends. Do you enjoy this? Is this all right?
This is between takes. We're sitting at a table.
And I'm addicted to this game, Scramble, where you just make as many words as you can in 2 minutes. You know the drill. And I got him on it, and he was like, "This is fantastic." And then it's like, bloop, 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 as he's making words. And what was the word? It was so funny. Oh, he goes,
Moist.
No, sucrose. Then followed by nasty.
And Andy, what's made you laugh the most?
Andre Braugher is so old. This motherfucker is crazy. Yo, I was talking to him. He's like, "Yo, you job turkey. You better get out of here, man." And I was like, "Whoa, so you roll, Andre, because I ain't having it."
That was my impression of our cast. That's all right. You know, every day's fun and funny.
Okay, we're gonna let Andy get away with that for now. Terry.
No, again, it's back to Andre. I gotta go there. No, Andy and I were standing there, and Andre was, he's tall. He's a tall guy, and he's getting his hair, kind of done up. And he starts twerking. He was twerking. We were like, I can't unsee this. I can't. My eyes, it burns. And we were like, wow, we just saw Andre twerk. And that was really hilarious. It was a brief twerk. We were singing a song and we started hitting. Sometimes we just hitting the beats and we feel it. And that was my funny moment. I'm throwing him out there.
Andre, I'm almost hesitant to ask. But please, tell us. No?
No.
Okay, then here's the next one. What's your favorite thing or the best thing the writers have done for each of your characters?
I'll say that so far we did an episode called Emmy Time, where Boyle is made the prime on a case, which is the main cop, and it was I was happy that they had Boyle actually solve a case because there's like a fine line, playing a character that's such a bumbling fool or could be portrayed as one, and not be competent, and that's I think one thing that Mike and Dan, our creators, have done really well is that they've made sure that all the cops are good cops, and that you can be funny without having to be incompetent. And so, it was great to have the writers have Boyle actually know how to solve a case. And so I was really happy that we had that layer.
I like that too, and I like the way his relationship with Jake kind of evolves.
Yeah, actually, in ME time as well, I'm pretty sure. All the stuff I had with Holt, where I think something is I know something is bothering him, and I'm the whole episode trying to figure out what it is and telling everyone that we have a connection and I know him and we're on the same page. And then Amy ends up being right at the end and figuring it out. And I just loved that because it just furthered the relationship between Holt and Amy and how she really wants him to mentor her and but also that there's this extra little thing of she gets him maybe and that she's a good detective too. She figured it out. She figured out the puzzle and she put it together and also it was just really fun doing all those scenes with Andre and because he's Andre Braugher.
Andre's okay. He wears shorts, you guys. It's not that exciting. He's a regular dude. He's all right. He's not that great. Did that make you feel better? Yeah. I particularly like the fact that the writers have been kind of unafraid to let Rosa spool out sort of slowly. Nothing has been sort of pushed or thrown. They're slowly kind of pulling apart who she is and stuff, and that's shown through the story, which is more interesting to me than anything else. You know, it's meaning like it's shown through her interactions with the characters through like as the course of the season goes on. Like they pair us up. You know, like this week I've got a case that I'm working on with Terry or something, or you know, it's not. The pairings are very interesting. The writers are good at sort of putting us together and then letting us sort of organically develop character versus like. And then you think you know somebody and then they surprise you, which I always love on television. I don't like it when I know what it's going to be all the time. It's more interesting to be surprised.
Okay. Chelsea?
Hi, everyone.
Been here for like 40 minutes.
Again. Yeah, I would second something that Joe said, which is that, you know, my character obviously says a lot of out there stuff, but there's been some episodes recently where she's sort of, they've made sure to show that she carries her weight in some way and has certain common sense that maybe evades other people. And so I think that's nice to keep her grounded. And also I enjoy dancing. Thank you.
Andy now has 2 microphones.
I feel like for the character of Jake, it's almost the inverse of that, which is he's introduced as such a know-it-all and a overachiever in terms of his job. But the thing that I think is most important that Mike and Dan have been very conscious of is keeping him vulnerable, even if it's just in small pockets, just so he doesn't become too obnoxious and too much of a braggart and a dick. Because ultimately you have to root for him and everyone in the cast as good humans when it comes down to their core. So anytime there's a chance to keep him like off balance and vulnerable and show chinks in his armor, I think that's when the show is winning. And that goes, you know, in both directions for all the characters.
Andre?
Yes?
What's been your favorite thing that the writers have done for your character? Or the best thing they've
similar
done?
to Andy, similar to what Stephanie was saying, it's slowly spooling out. You know, my first question, I mean, really it's the only question because our showrunners have very good reputations. I know their shows, I understand their sensibility. I feel as though I'm going to be in good hands on this show, whatever it's going to be, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. My big question is, you know, they've set Holt up as a gay police captain, you know, and the first thing that my 16-year-old said is, I'm not really crazy about you playing the gay police captain, you know, and I said, well, I and my wife simultaneously, we chimed in and says, no, he's a police captain who happens to be gay. And that distinction is an important one for me because, you know, they're going to venture into, you know, Dan and I were talking about this the other day. I just said, you know, it's a minefield, and no matter what you do, you're going to be wrong, you know. So I will defend you, you know, whatever you do, but we're just going to wind up stepping on toes, you know what I mean, because we're dealing with something very sensitive and precious, you know, people's sexual identity. And he says, you know, if you're willing to go there, I'm willing to go there. And we're just talking about who would be cast and, you know, and how it would develop. And I have to say, I really admire our showrunners, because the world that they're creating is a comedic world, but they're so loving and so humane about it, the way that they create this comedy, and I can see that on Parks and Rec, and so that's what I'm happy is that this hope that I had for the show, the world that they were going to create, it's being fulfilled every day, you know, by interesting, funny, sensitive men, and so I feel as though I can always look back this and respect the kind of work that we're going to be doing.
Wow.
Yeah.
And before Terry answers, if you're not familiar with the showrunners, it's Mike Schur and Dan Goor, and those are names that you should know because they're fantastic, fantastic writers. And if you watch Parks and Rec, you're also familiar with their work and The Office. Terry, please.
Well, for me, they actually named the character after me. It was like Terry. The role is Terry. And it really is me in so many ways. It's weird because they listen and they're watching me. I would doodle at my desk. You know, we play background. You basically, when other scenes are going on, you're in the back. And I'm doodling. I'm an artist. That's what I do. I'm an art major. I was an artist before I was a football player. And they added the art into the show, which blew my mind. My mother was like, "Oh, baby, they finally found out." I was like, "Ma," you know, it was the coolest thing. I was like, "Wow, that is me," you know. And in fact, I have a minivan, and they added the minivan into the show. They did a stakeout in my minivan.
That was a major plot point.
And it is, because a minivan is the best. It really is the best car you can have. I have 5 kids.
They roll.
Yeah, but
Terry,
they don't roll. They don't. The SUVs will roll over. That's the big thing. But the thing is I have 4 daughters and 1 son, and they added, you know, you know. And let me tell you something. It's not acting when I'm talking about my girls. When I literally think about my own daughters as I think about the twins in the show, and it's no problem going there. It doesn't feel like acting when I show up. It really feels like I am just myself. I am what I am. But it's weird because they also play the fact that I will kick your ass in a quick minute. Like, you know, it's like I'm kind of, you know, like being serious as a cop, I'm not playing, you know what I mean? But when I am, you know, amongst my friends and amongst my group, I am that sensitive person that they allow me to open up. But when you see me on the street as, you know, a cop or whatever, I'm no joke. I've also been that kind of guy. So it really capitalizes on every part of who I am, and I love that. And I won't kick your ass. No, I didn't mean that in a bad way. I'm sorry. That's out. I can't take that back.
I think everyone wants to believe that you could kick a little bit.
Well, my next question was, is the sergeant going to get back out in the field? I know he had a talk with the captain about it. Is he going to get back out in the field?
You know, that's a spoiler.
That
is a spoiler.
You're going to have to ask that one at the No Spoilers Guild Q&A.
I only ask because every time I see the flashback to you shooting the mannequin, I crack up all over again. Because I don't know why, that just breaks me up every time.
Let's just say it's fun playing, you know, the fact, will he or won't he? And we're going to continue with that.
That's cool. I'm cool with that. And the other thing I want to do is I want to congratulate all of you because not only did you get the pickup for the back 9, but you're going to be part of the post-Super Bowl show.
Yeah!
Huge! So I'm just guessing here, did that feel like a really nice vote of confidence from the network?
Yes.
Big.
Okay.
Big yes. Big yes.
It's good.
Okay.
It's good.
Yeah.
I was kind of bummed because I thought we were going to get to play in the Super Bowl. But you take what you can get.
Okay. I think we're going to take some questions from the audience. So did people fill out cards? No? Yes? Yes? And who's got the cards? Call it what? Oh, we're just going to call on people. Okay. Sorry, a little freeform here.
I think we should start right here.
Okay. This young man.
Question for Terry. I didn't know how you pop rocking or dancing in the show.
Yeah. Yeah, you know that. I gotta dance, man. I live to dance. I live for the dance, and we have various moments of celebration that I get to use my suspenders in a really funny way. So yeah, man. I mean, that's something I love to do. Man.
We've had takes where the director had to tell Terry to pull back on the dancing.
It's like, okay, stop, Terry, stop. You can't stop me from dancing. So
Like we yelled cut like 20 minutes ago.
When we told the crew that we got picked up for the back nine, Terry busted out some robot, and it was a nice little cherry on the moment. Right?
Wow. Gentleman raising the hand there.
Stand up. This one's for Andy. Andy, was it a goal of yours to be on Saturday Night Live? And then also, could you tell us about the audition process?
For SNL?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, it was my only goal. I think when I was 8 years old, I started watching SNL and decided then that was the only thing I would be pleased with in my life. Which I didn't realize until later was like saying, I'm going to be shortstop for the Yankees, or, I'm going to go to space. I never thought it would really happen, and then eventually got the audition through writing for the MTV Movie Awards, and Jimmy Fallon was the host, and he liked me, and Akiva and Yorma, my two working partners, were with me. So the audition process, they tell you, come in and do 5 to 8 minutes, do impressions, characters, and anything else you think will show to them how you're funny. And I had no impressions or characters, but I had done stand-up on and off for about 7 years at that point. So I kind of whipped stuff together. They helped me write it. And they fly to New York, and you go, some people do showcases in LA or Chicago or wherever they're traveling around to see people, and you'll get asked to come audition in the studio that way. And I went straight to the studio because they knew me from writing. And yeah, you sit there in one of the little dressing rooms, and there's a ton of people there, and you wait your turn, and you go in, and it's really quiet and really dark. And they tell you ahead of time, like, you probably won't hear any laughter, so just be cool with that. And I'm just like, well, I did stand-up, so I know what that feels like. So yeah, you go in, and at that time it was Lorne and Tina and Steve Higgins and Mike Shoemaker, some of the other producers, and you just run through your stuff with a big spotlight on you, and then they go, okay, thanks, and you leave. And you, in my case, I got asked to come back and do it again, I think 3 weeks later, and they said, you can just do all the same stuff, and then I got a call like 2 days before being like, you should do new stuff. So I thought of a bunch of new stuff really fast, which in the end is actually a really good indicator of whether or not you can make it on the show, because the majority of the things I ended up getting on that show I would come up with on a Thursday or even a Friday sometimes before a Saturday. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Right here.
Hey, hi, Colleen Braugher, great show, wonderful ensemble, you guys are very funny. This is for everybody. Since you're in a room full of actors, what's one thing you know now about acting that you wish you knew when you first started?
To look, oh, sorry.
No.
I was just going to say to look for where the cameras are.
Smart. That's smart. Yeah.
I was going to say, just briefly, because it's a business, when I came into business a while ago, I didn't know anything about the business, and there's a lot more resources today, but I was pretty much sort of kicked out of grad school into the crew world. You're going to work with a lot of people who are helpful in furthering your career, be they mentors or teachers or agents or managers or whatever. Just remember that you give them 10% of what you earn instead of them giving you 90% of what they earn. So the relationship between you and all the people that you work with is very important to keep clear and keep your boundaries clear, because it's very easy for actors to fall under the sway of people who are guiding them or loving them or pushing them in a certain way. But just remember that you're the point, you're the big deal. You're the center of you're the center of the action, you know what I mean? And so keep your relationships appropriate. because you know you're the star.
I'll say that I was fortunate enough to go straight out of college with a group of friends and do this show on MTV, and I'll learn.
State.
Thank you, Andy.
Everybody hates Chris.
I'll say that I learned very early that it was really important to surround yourself with people that you trust. Now, this is something that I was very fortunate to have, and all actors don't have that opportunity when they get their jobs. But I'll say that if you find people that you're creative with, to keep relationships with them, because it's much more rewarding when you're around people that you trust and that you feel safe with. I've learned the two main things I could say is make it always about the work, and don't be a dick. And that's the only two things that I've learned so far.
Great advice.
I did have one other thing to add, because for me, I learned really to just believe the directors and the people that are coaching you, and because this is the thing, as an actor, you never feel like you're doing it good enough. That's me. I'm always like, oh my God, that did not work, that did not work. And then they tell you it worked and you don't believe them. That's happened, where I'm like, oh, no. They really, no, it was great. And you're like, and you think, oh my God. And you try to, you go back, you're in your car, you're trying to replay it, you're trying to do all this stuff. Let that stuff go. And trust when they say you got it, you got it. You know what I mean? It's one of those things. And then when I look at it, I'm like, man, I did get it, But it's weird, because then you're waiting a year for the movie to come out, and you're thinking the whole time that you suck, and you didn't. And it's really just believe what they tell you. Believe in the process. Believe in what it is. Trust yourself. You know what I mean? As an actor, just trust it. You did the work. You got the job. You're there. They want you to be good. They're not the enemy. And I had a problem with that at first. It was like any note that came in, I was like, oh no, I messed it all up, And I would face that kind of anxiety. And just relax and trust. And I finally have got to that place where I can do that, finally. And I mean, that's 14 years after starting. So I'm just telling you, you can avoid a lot of pain by avoiding that.
Melissa, Stephanie?
I'll sort of piggyback a little bit on what Terry was just saying, but with auditioning, which is still something I'm figuring out, 'cause I don't think I'm a great auditioner all the time, but one of the biggest lessons I learned in the past, 9, 10 years that I've been working is whenever I didn't care about the audition, I would always do the work, and I would always, put the same amount of effort into every audition, but when I went in there and I just didn't give a shit, I would book it. And there's something to be said about when you walk into a room and you're just yourself and you're confident and you trust that you did the work and you know what you're doing and that there's no other you, like there's uniqueness in yourself and your art. That people pick up on that, and they pick up on that energy, and every time I would walk into an audition, like, oh my God, it's such a good one, like I really want to get it. I would not get it. It was every time that I was just like, ugh, yeah, whatever, okay, I don't even know if I'm right for this, and I'd just walk in, hey guys, what's going on, and then I would get it. So, and I think that translates onto set, and just, yeah, what all these guys are saying, being a good person and working with others and trusting the people that you're working with, because that's when the best work happens, when you're really trusting the people around you. That's it.
Cool. Stephanie?
I wish I had known, I wish someone had told me to work a little bit harder in the beginning, because it took me like 2 years maybe when I first moved to New York to realize that it was not going to be, there's a lot of talented people, but not all of the talented people work that hard. Sometimes talented people just kind of sail through on their sort of, panache or whatever, and I wish I could go back and say, listen, put your nose down earlier, because I finally did figure it out, because it's huge, the amount of work that it takes on your own in this world is like a lot, and that if you're working hard, think about how much harder you could be working, meaning if you're in a play, are you doing all the research that you could do? If you're on this TV show, are you really trying to connect with everyone every day in the best way possible? I mean, it's like, I wish someone had said that to me when I was 20. Just work a little bit harder.
Makes sense. Okay, lightning round. Who, in terms of other talents, it can be actors, directors, writers, who are your greatest influences right now?
Chelsea Peretti.
Aww.
I do love Chelsea so much. I am very fascinated by her every day.
I totally
at
get
work.
it.
She's fascinating to watch.
And she's very funny.
Yes.
So.
And one of
bonus.
the great beauties of the world. So
Andy.
You're welcome.
You still with us?
Sorry.
They were shooting until 5 in the morning
Yes, they
yesterday.
were up
Melissa
late.
and Andy were up till 5 shooting.
Oh.
And they're here. Aren't
Not
they
even
awesome?
the show.
Not even for the show. Just out shooting guns for funsies.
Just shooting the breeze. Thanks, Chels.
And I'm sitting here the whole time watching Andy be hilarious going, how is he doing that?
You guys, we really dig each other. That's what we're learning here today. Sorry, what is the question?
Talented writers, directors, actors who are the greatest influence on you right now?
God, there's so many. I feel like everyone, for me, I'm just all about comedy, so it's such a cool time for comedy with the internet and cable, and there's so many outlets for cool comedy. There's shows now like Key and Peele and Tim and Eric and Louie and I'm blanking because I'm so tired, but I still
okay.
think South Park's incredible. A lot of my friends at SNL, stuff like that.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. No, it doesn't have to be a laundry list. Andre?
Yeah.
What was the question again? I'm
The
sorry.
question is, other creative talents who are a big influence on you right now? Writers, directors, actors?
Daniel Day-Lewis.
Well, there's always Daniel Day-Lewis.
He really does change. It's like he's a whole different person in every movie.
I saw Lincoln followed by Wreck-It Ralph, and I think Lincoln won out. So Daniel Day-Lewis, yes, absolutely.
Terry?
I am actually influenced off the last great performance I've seen. It's crazy. Michael B. Jordan in Fruitvale Station. Let me tell you something. I was like, I'm not an actor. I can't do it. I mean, I literally was like, that's what it is. I mean, goosebumps, everything. You can't move. You sit in the theater. Everybody's gone. I'm still sitting there like, damn. That. And then it says, okay, I got to go out. I got to get better. I got to work harder. I got to get really good. And this is a young kid who's amazing. And you just go, it's the last great performance. It's not really one person. It's one thing. It's like that one song. You go, oh, my God, that's the best song I've ever heard in my life. And then it's there, So for me, it's the last great thing that I've seen.
That's cool. Chelsea, I'm dying to know what's in your head.
Wendy Williams and I listened to her radio show in New York when I lived there every day on WBLS, 2 to 6, I believe it was. And I love Steve Coogan. Alan Partridge is an all-time favorite comedy influence.
Okay, that's cool. Melissa?
I'd have to say I'm especially lately really, well, for a long time, really inspired by women in general in comedy. Like, my comedy light bulb went off watching Tina Fey and Amy Poehler do Weekend Update on SNL, and people like Kristen Wiig and
Overrated.
Chelsea Peretti and
I'm kidding. Was that really an O? You guys really think I think they're overrated?
and Melissa McCarthy, Amy Schumer, and there's so, I just think it's so exciting how many funny women are, all the new girls on SNL this season. Yeah, that's what's been kind of lighting my fire lately.
Joe?
I'll repeat, Andy and Chelsea, all those names. Yeah, when he was. Key and Peele, Coogan, and everyone they named. But also, Gene Wilder was a big influence on me, and Peter Sellers, and dramatically, like character actors, like Warren Oates was my all-time favorite. Yep.
Wait, we're allowed to go back?
Oh, that's what you said now or today, right?
It was whatever you want. I was giving you full leeway. It could be
Mel Brooks, Monty Python, Steve Martin.
It was a lightning round, so you could answer it any way you wanted to.
Got it.
So, we have run out
Gene
of
Wilder.
time. We've run out of time. There's too much funny. There's too much funny.
But the Marx Brothers!
Oh, okay.
And the Stooges.
Of course.
Iggy Pop. Iggy Pop.
Richard Pryor.
I want to thank everyone again for coming, and thank you to the cast of Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Thank you for moderating, Diane. Thank you.
My pleasure. Jeez, my pleasure.